Ever wondered how to make delicious donuts at home? Welcome to the sweet, round world of donuts. Originating from the Dutch settlers in America, these deep-fried delicacies have become a staple of our breakfasts, desserts, and snack times. The joy of making homemade donuts is quite unmatched. You can customize the flavors, experiment with the fillings, and even control the sweetness. Plus, the aroma of fresh donuts wafting through your home is simply irresistible. Stay tuned as we delve into the delightful process of making donuts right at your kitchen. Before we start, gather all the essential ingredients. First up, we've got flour, the foundation of our donuts. It gives them body and structure. Next is sugar, adding just the right amount of sweetness. Our third ingredient is yeast, which will help our donuts rise and become fluffy. Moving on, we have milk. Milk enriches the dough, giving it a tender crumb. Then we have eggs. They provide structure and add richness to our donuts. Our sixth essential is salt. Now don't underestimate salt. It balances the sweetness and enhances the overall flavor. Next in line is butter. It gives our donuts that oh-so-delicious buttery flavor and a beautiful golden color. And last but not least, we need oil for frying. The right oil will give your donuts a crispy exterior while keeping the inside soft and fluffy. Now that we have our ingredients ready, it's time to dive into the process. The first step to our delicious donuts is creating the perfect dough. Now, it's time to roll up our sleeves and get our hands a little dirty. Making the dough is the heart of our donut making process. It's where we infuse our love and warmth into these sweet treats. And trust me, it's easier than you might think. First off, we'll start by combining our dry ingredients. That's our all-purpose flour, a bit of sugar for sweetness, a pinch of salt for balance, and our active dry yeast. The yeast is our secret weapon here. It's going to give our donuts that fluffy, airy texture we all know and love. Stir these together until they're well combined. Next, we'll add in our wet ingredients: warm milk, melted butter, and a couple of beaten eggs. The warmth from the milk will activate the yeast, setting the stage for our dough to rise. Blend these in gradually, stirring until you have a dough that's soft and slightly sticky. Now here's where the magic happens: kneading. This isn't your average stir and mix. Kneading is all about working the dough, stretching it, folding it, and pressing it. This process helps develop the gluten in the flour, giving our donuts their chewy texture. So, put in a good 10 to 15 minutes of elbow grease and knead that dough until it's smooth and elastic. Once we're done kneading, it's time for our dough to rest and rise. This is a crucial step. As the yeast feeds on the sugars in the dough, it releases carbon dioxide, causing the dough to puff up. So cover your dough with a clean cloth and set it aside in a warm place. Give it a good hour to double in size. Remember, patience is key here. Don't rush the process. Let nature do its thing. When you come back, you'll find your dough transformed, ready to be shaped into those delightful rings of sweetness. With our dough set aside to rise, we are one step closer to our homemade donuts. Now comes the fun part: shaping and frying our donuts. Let's get our hands a little floury, shall we? After the dough has had its beauty sleep, it's time to wake it up gently. Flour your work surface generously and roll out the dough to about 1/2 inch thickness. You want it thick enough to give your donuts some heft, but not so thick that they turn into bread rolls. Next, it's time to bring out your donut cutter. Or, if you're like me and enjoy a bit of improvisation, a large and small round cookie cutter will do just fine. Press firmly into the dough, making sure to cut all the way through. Lift away the excess dough, but don't toss it. You can gather it up, knead it lightly, and roll it out again for more donuts. Now, let's talk about the heart of the donut, the hole. Some folks like to keep them to fry up as little donut holes. I say, why not? They make a delightful little treat, and nothing goes to waste. Once your donuts are all cut out, it's time for a little sunbathing. Let them rest for about 10 minutes. They need a little time to puff up again and get ready for their hot oil bath. Speaking of which, it's frying time. Heat up a good amount of oil in a deep, heavy-bottomed pan. You want the oil to be around 375 degrees Fahrenheit, the perfect temperature to get our donuts golden and crispy without burning them. Now, carefully slide in the donuts one by one. They'll sizzle and start to puff up, turning into that familiar, mouth-watering shape. Let them fry until they're a beautiful golden brown on one side, then flip and do the same on the other side. Always remember, safety comes first. Use a slotted spoon to lift the donuts out of the oil and transfer them to a paper towel-lined plate to drain. And just like that, we have our donuts fried to perfection. But we aren't done just yet. No donut is complete without a sweet, glossy glaze. Now that we've got our perfectly fried donuts, it's time to bring them to life with a glaze that will make your taste buds dance. The process of making a simple sugar glaze is as easy as pie. All you need is some confectioner's sugar, a bit of milk, and a dash of vanilla extract. Combine these 3 ingredients in a bowl and whisk them together until you have a smooth, creamy texture. If you want a thicker glaze, just add more sugar. If you prefer a thinner glaze, add a little more milk. Once your glaze is ready, it's time for the fun part. Hold your donut by the sides and gently dip the top half into the glaze. Give it a little twist as you pull it out to ensure an even coat. Then, set your donut on a cooling rack and give it a few minutes to let that glaze set. But don't stop there. This is your chance to get creative. Try adding a dash of cinnamon or a sprinkle of cocoa to your glaze, or top your donuts with some crushed nuts or rainbow sprinkles. The possibilities are endless, and that's the magic of homemade donuts. There you have it, folks. Homemade donuts, fresh and ready to be enjoyed. Don't they just look irresistible? Before we wrap up, a quick reminder. We hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. This will encourage us to share more delicious recipes with you. Do you have any thoughts or questions about today's recipe? Or maybe you have a unique twist on the glaze you'd like to share. Feel free to leave a comment down below. We love hearing from you, and your input helps us create content that you'll love. Not yet a part of our sweet community? What are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon to get notified every time we post a new video. We've got plenty more mouth-watering recipes coming your way. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep those sweet cravings satisfied.